All right, welcome, kings and queens. We are back. We are live, honey. We are coming in hot over here in the palace because we are up and running, and you know what time it is. And for those of you that don't, we are talking all things love and marriage. Huntsville, yes, honey, I'm back. I'm back. We back. Let's get into it. So we're gonna be reviewing and recapping Love and Marriage Huntsville, season 6, episode 16, y'all. What are your thoughts on this episode? Are you pleased? Did it give you what you needed, or is there some opportunity there? Or in some cases, were you completely, utterly disappointed? Yeah, I feel like Chris Fletcher is stepping up or has stepped up in this scene. I like it. I like it, Chris. And I'll cover that briefly. No, I'll cover that momentarily. There's a couple of characters, dynamics that I'm going to cover. I'm going to cover Courtney and Marcel. I am going to briefly talk about Kimmy and Maurice. Don't close your eyes. Don't blink because you may miss it. I'm going to briefly talk about Kiki. And then I am going to talk about Martell and Chris. Oh, yeah, we got to cover that. But before we jump in, I just want to say Kiki, Kiki, Kiki. I've said it before. Ma'am, Kiki, that's all I'm going to say. You know, when somebody say, ma'am, what are you doing? I think Kiki is struggling. And again, I've said it before, I'm extremely transparent when I give my reviews. That's why I don't understand why some of y'all get upset when I say what I say. But I'll say it again. I do not think reality television is the answer for Kiki right now. I just don't. To me, it was evident in her scene with Melody that there are some challenges going on with Kiki. And I'm not sure if y'all are just desperate to see Kiki win and you really don't have a meter. And I'm shocked. And whether or not a situation could be triggering or not triggering. But y'all, reality television is not the answer, in my opinion, for Kiki right now. Okay? Kiki, when they rolled the tape of Kiki talking to Melody, the conversation was on. It rolled on and on and on and on and on. Kiki was sweating profusely. She came into the house. She told Melody, "Oh no, I'm in such pain. My back is hurting really bad. I had to call 911." Y'all, there's a lot going on, in my opinion. Kiki still has a lot going on, and no one can convince me otherwise based on my experience and my worldly knowledge. But that don't make me right neither. So don't be jumping in my comments, jumping all down my throat. I have an opinion just like y'all. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Because you know we speak freely around here. All right. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
I see you, production. I see what's going on. And it's not a bad thing when I say I see you. This episode was primarily about the men. They utilized this episode to showcase the men. This is like open season for the men to come in and kind of mark their spots and give them an opportunity. I don't know if it's where I know Carlos believes that the men should have just as much camera time and scenes and footage as the women. I don't think so. I think you got to tread lightly, because then it becomes a little bit too sassy and off-putting for the viewing audience, because the bulk of your audience are women, and women tune in to watch women. Now, I do like it. I think it's a good balance. I really do. I think it's a great insert, but I wouldn't overproduce it with the men. I wouldn't overproduce it because it's not a male audience. It's a female audience, but I do like it. And I did catch that. So in my opinion, this was an opportunity for the men to shine, honey. Courtney and Marcel, they met at Black. Can I call a flag? You know what? I want to call a flag on the play producers. Carlos, Marcus, why have we gotten to a point, or when did we get to a point? I know when we got there, but I need y'all to why are we at a point that Letitia and Marcel can only film in black? Now, this is becoming old. And I'm sorry, production. I know you like to see people win and work with folks, but we got to get out of black. We got to get out of that brick and mortar. Can we come up with something else? Because y'all are starting to treat black like it's the players club. And I'm starting to believe the alleged rumors of an underground railroad leading to a, you know what? Let me move on. Courtney opens up the conversation. I mean, baby, he walks right in and he gets down to business. So he opens up the conversation and Marceau tries to break the ice a little bit. He offers Courtney a drink, a cocktail. He's a little shocked that Courtney only wants water. I know that's right, Courtney. Courtney, I guess you came in with the intent to remain level-headed, even keel, and with a sober state of mind. So Courtney was like, nah, give me water. He gets his water. Then he looks at Marceau and he says, say, tell me this. How was the Black Expo? Whew, child. You can cut the tension with a knife. I could feel it. And at this point, I believe it's because he's letting Marceau know, this is how I'm coming at you. No games, no gimmicks, straight on, head on collision, like a man is supposed to do. Courtney mentioned the vendor's fee to Marcel. And Marcel, with his smart mouth, says, well, the only person that didn't pay was one person. And that person was Stormy. Now, here's my thing, Marcel. It sounds like you and Letitia did not have a vendor's fee initially set in place. Okay? And if you did, you failed to communicate that to Stormy way ahead of time, way in advance. You do not run an event. Trust me, I know. And when your vendors arrive and they begin to set up in their most vulnerable moments, say, oh, by the way, you need to pay me. Oh, no, absolutely not. Stormy was right. And so was Courtney and everybody else. If there is a vendor fee, honey, we submit that well in advance, if not weeks, probably months before the actual event. So y'all did drop the ball. And I do feel like it was a money grab. I think both you and Letitia saw an opportunity, which it seems like that's what you're being alleged of doing. You see opportunities, you see moments of vulnerability, and you decide to go in for the kill and say, you know what? I can hit a quick lick right here. I can finesse this. So by the way, can you give me $100? Yeah, that ain't the way that's supposed to work. So they are actually telling you right. And you should have let that shit ride, Marcel, because $100 for real? Yeah, you should have let that ride. You dropped the ball on that. In my opinion. Well, let me back up. As a reminder, keep this in mind now. They asked Stormy and Courtney to fill in, to be backfills for Melody. Stormy and Courtney were kind enough, nice enough to carve out time in their schedule with little to no notice to help you out. And at the end of the day, Marceau and Letitia, if greed were not the focus, you could see, or you should be able to see, that they were actually being good friends. You fumbled that friendship, what could have been a friendship, because when you needed them the most, they stood in the gap. And y'all, that's why you can't help everybody. I'm sorry. You just can't help everybody. Sometimes Black businesses just need to get it together. It be just nigger rigged and horribly organized. And that sounds like what happened at the Black Expo. Okay. Yeah, I said it. The other thing is, I think it's important to talk openly and honestly. And I'm not sure that, Marcel, you are capable of doing that based on some of the charges and the court cases that I see filed against you. I think the real issue here is that you had a problem with the amount of space that Stormy came in and took up. And so did Maurice. And y'all all talked about it as a family. Because in the next scene, Maurice says, well, I paid $100. And if I paid the same as multimillionaires, or if I paid something, whatever he said, then I expected to have as much space. What was you going to put in there, Maurice? A bed? Sex tapes? Whips and toys? What the hell would you have filled up all that space with, sir? Huh? Exactly. That's a communication issue. When you think about the alleged lawsuits, the alleged scamming, the pilfering of funds, the fraudulent, all of that stuff that you're being charged with, that's a lack of communication and some other stuff. But I'm just going to point out the communication. And Marcel, that tends to follow you and have followed you as a business owner. So wherever you are, wherever you go, there you are. And you seem to be the common denominator when it comes to strife and discord in business. And it seems to me that you have a track record of not disclosing information and your true intents openly and honestly. If your expectation was that Stormy should have taken a small space, or you were expecting each vendor, this is your area, this is what you've signed up for, you should have said that. You should have communicated that, which is why I do not believe the lie that you told Stormy, oh, it was on the worldwide internet. No, because so with dimensions and space and tables, that's normally outlined. That's normally outlined when vendors go to purchase their space. Stormy would not know that because you did not communicate through the internet to book Stormy, okay? Now, Courtney wasted no time and he said, I got a problem with you trying to check my wife. Marcel comes back and says, so is that what you heard? And Courtney was like, nah, bro. Nah, hold on, let me say, nah, bro, that's what I know. Let me explain to y'all what was happening in that moment. I believe that Marcel used the same tactic on Lewis when it came down to him and Martell disrespecting Tiffany. Y'all remember? He challenged Lewis on what Tiffany perceived to be the problem versus what he was telling Lewis. And Lewis, although he backed Tiffany up for a little bit, he still stood down at the end of the day when it came to Maurice, Marcel, and Martell. Lewis, you should have stood 10 toes deep like Courtney did. Now, we got to give Courtney his props because he did exactly what a husband is supposed to do when it comes to his wife. Okay? If your wife comes home and tell you that some guy, a grown-ass man, is trying to check her, yeah, you got to ride with your wife. You don't care what his excuse is, how he tries to paint a scenario or iron out the conversation. You got to ride with your wife. Your wife has the final say so in that. And Marceau tried to play mind games by saying, is that what you heard? As if only his word carries the truth. Courtney looked at him like, Negro, is that what I heard? That's what I know, bro. What you mean? Is that what I heard? Remember when he and Martell, what is it called? They ambushed Tiffany. Two grown-ass men ambushed a pregnant woman because they didn't like a conversation or disagree with the conversation she had with another woman. BANs. BANs. Okay? So he did the same thing, or he attempted to do the same thing with Courtney that he had done with Lewis, because he challenged Lewis on what Tiffany perceived to be the problem versus what he was telling Lewis. Look, bro, I'm trying to tell you. Okay? But Courtney was not playing those kind of games. And we got to give Courtney his props because he did exactly what a husband is supposed to do when your wife comes home and tell you something. You ride with your wife. So when you walk up to that man, you be like, hey, according to my wife, I ain't trying to hear nothing else. And here are the rules. when it comes to how you will engage with my wife. And I love that Courtney did that. And I feel like Marceau tried to play mind games by saying, is that what you heard? As if only his word could be truth. Marceau, you a one-trick pony. You're a one-trick pony. Okay. You did not communicate that there was a vendor fee. Okay. You did not communicate that to Stormy ahead of time. And if it were on the internet, you didn't contact Stormy via internet. Stormy was doing you a favor by filling in the gaps for you. Therefore, the rules and the bylaws on the internet does not apply to Stormy because she is not the general public. So you can save that argument and that technicality. And Kimmy revealed that that was a lie. Kimmy said actually half of the vendors got in free. And it wasn't until halfway through the event or at the beginning of the event that you and Letitia realized that there was a moment. At some point, you're like, wait a minute, we can take advantage of this. All right, I need everybody up in here to give me $100. Yeah, that was a quick lick. That's finessing. That's called street. You try to hoodwink mofos up in there because that was not the initial requirement. Okay. Now, Courtney went in for the jugular. He said, you always coming for women. You know what, y'all? Court is in session. Hear ye, because Marceau, you do come for women. And that shit would not fly here in Texas. Marceau would get his ass whooped if he approached the wives here in Texas. Those men, the men here would not stand for that. And as a matter of fact, you would be considered quite sassy at the level of involvement you tend to get in when it comes to women's business. Stay out of women's business, Marceau. Because you did not present that same antagonistic energy toward Courtney like you normally do when you're browbeating women. Wait, hold up, y'all. Marceau tried to school and check Courtney on how much leadership that Courtney should display when it comes to his wife. He said, come on, bro, you cannot be this much of a protector. Sir, just because you, Martell, and Maurice, the Three Stooges, don't honor your wives or did not honor your wives does not mean that other men feel the same about theirs. We're going to transition to the scene with Letitia and Kimmy. So Kimmy stops by Letitia's new apartment. Okay, they've gone from building a mansion to renovating an old house to a 3-bedroom apartment. And here's the thing about it. I don't knock nobody for having humble moments in life. We've all had them. The problem is they lie and they like to shit on everybody else and rag on everybody else and highlight everybody else's shortcomings in order not to have to talk about theirs. So in this moment, yeah, what's up with y'all being in that 3-bedroom apartment? A family of 5. In any other circumstance, y'all, it ain't no problem. We got to do what we got to do, right? But because it's them, we got to call it out. Because y'all were quick to shit on Melody and Martell when they were going through what they were going through. You're going to pick on Tiffany. You picked on Tiffany and Lou last season. Y'all talk about everybody except y'all's own shit. Why are y'all in that apartment? You know, they should be featuring these lawsuits, these audio recordings against y'all on this show. Tisha wouldn't even talk about it. She said she has no date. She don't know when she's going to get out of that apartment. Girl. And then Kimmy says, girl, you better than me. You're a better woman than me. Kimmy, not so fast. Girl, stop, because you have your own set of problems when it comes to your husband. So, you know, in that aspect, I don't know. Y'all are probably neck and neck when it comes to that, you know. But as I was looking at Kimmy, in my opinion, she looks different this season in the eye region. Something in the eye area is different to me. I think she just looks different. Yeah, that's it. Well, so Kimmy and Letitia are talking and they took a jab at Tiffany. And they were making fun of Tiffany. I really don't know what she do for a living. Girl, if you were to ask me, if you would have paid me $1 million, I couldn't tell you what she did for a living. But hold up. We don't know what either of you do for a living. As a matter of fact, you not knowing what Tiffany does for a living has nothing to do with her ability, Letitia, to successfully deliver a kick-ass speech. You should have had her if you were smart, because she can outspeak you, she can out-articulate you, and she can command the room. So you not knowing what she does for a living does not substantiate that ignorant ass excuse of not inviting her to be a speaker, because you can barely speak. Make it make sense. And I don't normally come down on people's defects or flaws like that, but let's not do that. Let's not try to downplay her. Tiffany is a highly intelligent, well-spoken woman. So you're not going to do that. You don't have to do that. Focus on your own articulation. All right. Kimmy, why you laughing about not knowing what Tiffany does? We don't know what you do, because you let Maurice convince you to quit your nursing job. And Letitia, you're up to your ears with lawsuits. But you know what? I know what it is. I feel like Kimmy and Letitia want to be the queen bees of the show. And Kimmy, you're a low-key mean girl. Yeah. And you were messy in this episode, because you wouldn't say that shit to Tiffany nor Stormy's face. All them jokes that you have behind the scenes, you don't do that when they're around. They don't want the other women, in my opinion, Letitia and Kimmy, they don't want the other women, including Melody, to excel on this show. They tried it with Mel. Look, while Melody was married, post-divorce, they tried everything to keep that woman down. Okay, that didn't work. Now they're taking up issue with Stormy and Tiffany. Why? Well, let me tell you. Here's the difference. Let me tell you why. Melody, Stormy, and Tiffany are not willing to roll over and sit down. Okay? These are the three who don't kiss their asses and won't kiss their asses. Destiny kissed their ass. Destiny was a lone ranger. She had to kiss their bottoms. But Tiffany and Stormy, they have a competitive edge on both Letitia and Kim. Yep. Stormy and Tiffany have a competitive edge when it comes to marriage, business, and corporate work. And Mel does too, but I didn't want to throw Mel in the mix of all of this. Okay. Now, I skipped through Kimmy's and Maurice's portion because ain't nobody got time for that. Don't nobody want to be triggered and see this man verbally abusing this woman, harassing this lady about sex. It's just tired. It's played out. It's weird. It's not normal. And we want it off our television screens, if the truth be told. But Kimmy, if you want to continue to allow your husband to damn near sexually violate you while you're going through chemo, then hey, who the hell am I? Who am I to keep speaking on it and advocating for you when you show up at the schoolhouse to take his side every single time, okay? But since you like to talk about sex quite often, Maurice, could there be a possibility that your wife just don't like your dick and your dick could be trash? There, I said it. Maybe your Butterfinger ain't as good as you think it is, boy. Child, let's get into Martell and Chris. Martell is a goddamn scammer. I watched this episode and this man was trying to scam and finesse and fast talk Chris. I mean, listen, he keeps the same strategy when it comes to how he's going to try to talk you into agreeing with him, talk you into giving him what he wants. It's actually quite predatory, in my opinion. Listen to this crap.
So I guess the last time we talked was probably the time that you subpoenaed me and your wife to come to court.
Oh.
That was kind of
Why though?
because that looks like we're on one side.
Yeah.
Because we're still friends with you. We're still friends with Melody. We're not going to take sides.
Right.
Thing.
Yeah, never that. Everybody I had subpoenaed, I tell them on the phone, like I told you, like, let the truth come out. Whatever the truth is, let the truth be known. Mm-hmm. If that's hurting me, it doesn't matter. Let the truth be heard. So it's not you taking sides, it's allowing the people who knows us best be an advocate for the truth. That's it, you know?
Martell, bald-headed ass, just lie just to be lying. Because if we go back and look at the scene where he ripped his own mama, Miss Marlene, a new one for not lying for him in court. But a few minutes ago, you told Chris, I don't care if it is against me and if I'm uncomfortable. I just want the truth to be told in the best interest of both of us. You a lie. You are a lie. You subpoenaed Chris, Nell, and Letitia Scott. Letitia didn't show up, but you subpoenaed those people to go against your ex-wife. And you try to make it look to be what it wasn't. You tried to make it look and finesse the whole thing as if all of these people were on your side. You thought you had Melody in a vulnerable moment where she would feel like everybody was against her. Y'all, if that's not a puppet master, I don't know what is, but I'm glad that you spoke on it, Chris. I'm glad that you came guns a-blazing and you let your nuts hang on this one. And you looked him in his eye and you basically said, don't play with me and my family. Don't play with us like that. Hey, I like it. I like how he showed up. But let's get into it. Martell squatted in them people's house for almost a year. Chris Fletcher gave him more than 30 days to leave that house. He should have left when they initially asked him to leave. As a matter of fact, had you kept your penis in your household, you wouldn't have these problems that you have today. Don't let Martell try to fool y'all. That 30-day notice was a final notice before they issued a judgment having to force him to be removed and or evicted from that place. He thought he could defy the rules and go against the owner's wishes and keep his ass in that house until he got good and ready to leave. Well, sir, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Because you would have got forced out. And if the truth be told, he probably didn't want to leave because during that time he was hot and heavy with Sheree and allegedly Belinda, and he was shooting scenes at Real Housewives of Atlanta. Think about that. 6 to 8 months ago, almost a year ago. Oh yeah, he was a hot ticket item. He was in New York. Oh no. See, because had he left the house when they needed him to, he did not want to risk or appear those women seeing the reality. And the reality is he didn't have a home. But they probably didn't know that he was renting that house and that house did not belong to him. So he didn't want the cat to be let out of the bag. He didn't want no Chris Fletcher lurking around, giving away his secret. Okay? You gonna help me pull off this good guy act. You gonna help me pull off or make it look like I'm a guy with some money. I gotta look like I have a stable home. So now that it's go time, right? It's lights, camera, and action for Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now we're in a different a second half of the season. Oh yeah, what he wants to do is sit on this show and pretend that this is all new to him. He's never heard this. Oh, they selling a house? They are. Oh wow, you only gave me 30 days and pretend that it's new. Good old Marty Mar. Boy, you got caught slipping. Okay? And you told a bold-faced lie because when they rolled that tape, Chris notified you months ago that you needed to go.
Okay, told me that so the owner's on the sale. Yes. So I mean that's what's up. This is the market to sell everything.
Well, yeah.
I have to start now because my lease is up in about 6 months. You know.
Martell is taking advantage of the friendship by continuously staying in this house. I think he's looking for me to give him special treatment, allow him to continue to stay just because he's Martell.
At one point in his confessional, Chris said that he believes Martell is taking advantage of the friendship. Chris, you're absolutely correct. Martell is taking advantage of the friendship. However, sir, you have no one to blame but yourself. Okay? And Maya Angelou said it best, that when people show you who they are, you better believe them. Nobody took Martell serious when he was bullshitting around on Melody because it didn't apply to them. It didn't directly apply to them or their situation. So you know what? Out of sight, out of mind. But now that he's messing up your shit and putting your reputation on the line as a broker, now you can see clearly. Okay? Now your eyes are open. You are a grown-ass man. You should have put your foot on his neck the first time he defied your order to move when the homeowners said they wanted him out. So, Chris, that's on you. But I want to ask y'all, do you see the similarities or have you noticed the similarities between Martell Holt and Ernesto Williams? Do you see how Martell told Chris, if you were being a friend, you should have gone back and told them I needed 90 more days in addition to the year that I should have been out. I need 90 more days. Boy, if you don't get your ass out them people's house. Now, keep in mind, he's been squatting in his house for almost a year. So he's had notice, y'all, after notice, after notice, after notice. But he wants to send his friend to continue to somewhat break the law. I'm just saying, teetering along the line, the border of breaking a law. The same expectation that Ernesto Williams has had with Shirley and the rest of his clan. Now, instead of taking the hint, Martell pushes the envelope and he looks at Chris and he said, well, they can't come kick me out. Boy, if you don't get your black bald head ass out them people's house, now instead of you taking ownership and accountability that you've worn out your welcome, you come up with the notion that they can't kick you out. Oh, the defiance of a narcissist. I can invade you. I can violate you. I can take over your property. And guess what? You can't do nothing about it. Y'all, if that don't sound like a Ernesto Williams in some aspects, come on. You see the similarities? Listen. So he's attempting to gaslight Chris. It's all fun and entertainment because it's on Love and Mary Huntsville. But in real life, imagine that energy coming at you full force, full throttle, 24 hours, 7 days a week. I can only imagine how tired, mentally exhausted Melody had to have been being a wife to this guy. I could only imagine. But let me share something. Take note and peep this. A dog trainer once told me the same energy that a dog uses to play, he uses to fight. If you can't stop or command your dog while he's playing to stop, you won't be able to stop him when he attacks. Let that soak in. Let that soak in. I'll say it again. The same energy that your dog uses to play is the same energy that he uses to fight. Every now and then when your dog is playing, command him to stop. If he stops, you're good to go in a fight. If he ever gets into a dog fight. If your dog can't and won't stop and continues to jump on you and scratch and claw while he's playing, baby, good luck in a fight. Because he is not going to listen to you, whether he's attacking you or someone else. So I just wanted to share that. Imagine Martell using this same toxic ass energy to throw others under the rug at any cost. He did it to Melody, and he started off small with Melody. He started off by insinuating she wasn't good enough for him in the bedroom. And when the truth got told, actually, he didn't satisfy her. He ain't never gave her an orgasm. Listen, if it's kids in the room, get them out. Y'all know this is the palace. We grown folks up in here. As a matter of fact, pour a glass of wine if you need to. But when the truth, I remember I told y'all a while back, I said narcissists tend to make you feel ill-equipped in areas that you're actually quite good in because they're jealous, they're envious, and they're hateful. So he wanted to attack Melody's sexual game. And you remember I told y'all he a damn lie. She probably turned his ass out and he didn't know what to do with it. So he wanted to say she wasn't good enough for me. She didn't do this and this and this. When really Arion probably ain't nothing in the bedroom. It's just that she lets you defile her. disrespect her, take her to the lowest of the low, like a serpent on its belly. So he upped the ante and he created a revenge plot to make her look bad, to make it appear as if she was doing something that this lady didn't do. And the same playful energy reservoir that he's using on Chris, I mean, that's what you're seeing, that same playful energy reservoir in this moment that he's using on Chris. We will see him do it again, again, and again this season. He did it to his mother over the court case. He did it to Melody's makeup artist. When he touched him at the reunion, he should have gotten fired then. He did it to his child, as it's outlined in the court documents that he sent to me. Okay. And he's going to do it to Nell this season. He's going to do it to Marcel. And oh, wait, hold on. I know you didn't think I forgot about you. Oh, you're next, Ariane. You're next.
Half ago, I asked you specifically. I said, Chris, do you have any properties?
I didn't have anything.
So what makes you think that I can run out here in 30 days and find me something for my kids and I, if you can't find anything? As a friend, you want me just to pack up and go to a hotel?
Yes. We do want you to find a hotel. Take your ass to the same hotel that you took Ariane to. How about that?